Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the La Vida Loca Cruise Podcast. And I'm here with one of my favorite people, not only in the cruising space, but one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Don Harris, what's going on, buddy?
Hey everybody, hi Tony, how are you? Hey everybody. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? I'm sitting here contemplating what your last 30 days has been like, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I don't know if I'm jealous, if I have the FOMO, or I'm just in awe. You pulled off the trifecta. You did a bucket list land-based vacation. You did a river cruise, and you did an ocean cruise. I guess I should get them in the right order. You did the land-based, the ocean cruise, and then the river cruise. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. Three different
All right,
vacation all at once.
all at once. And so let's work our way through it. When did your travels start? Was it early August?
It was August 1st, I left home.
Okay, you live in Ottawa, Canada. Where did you travel to, and how long did it take you to get there?
So I took the train to Toronto because I saved $2,000 not flying out of Ottawa.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I flew to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia and then on to Lusaka, where I spent the night there, and that's near Zambia. And then from there, we took a smaller plane to the camp, which was about an hour. We actually stopped at Royal Airport. They called it Royal Airport. It was a dirt runway. Just to let you know how small of a place it was. And then when I landed in where I was going for my camp, it was paved. I was surprised, but it was a smaller airport than the one I was just at and that they just landed at. But my guy was sitting there waiting for me when we arrived, and it was first class service from then on.
Wow. So basically you flew from Ottawa, Canada, through all the train, all of those connections, and you ended up in the middle of Africa for a bucket list safari adventure. What was the company that you went with?
It was Time and Tide.
They have Time
Camps all together in the area.
Time and Tide. So describe it to me. What is a camp like? Is it huts, or is it a bunch of tents? How many people were at a camp? What was the setup?
Okay, well, the camp I was at is called Shongwe, and they had 8 what they call single tents, but they're not. They're like long tents. They're on cement right in front of the river, and you walk in and you'll have your king-size bed sitting there, and then in the back it's kind of open to the outside with a wall, and you can see out above your head kind of thing, and it's kind of outdoors, indoors, and that's your bathroom area. So they have 8 of those tents. Then they have what they call a 2-bedroom, which is 2 big tents and then like a living room set up in the middle, all outdoors as well. And then what I stayed in, because I wanted to do it all out, I stayed in what they call the honeymoon tent. It's basic. It was luxury, king size bed, like huge quilts and everything. And my bathroom was actually covered in walls. I had a ceiling, but it was outdoors, so I could hear everything outdoors. I could look straight out the windows and everything. If a monkey wanted to come into he could into the let's put it that way. But I had a little living room set up. I had a dining room set up. The bar was there. The fridge was there. And every night we had a private chef that would come and cook at my tent. Every single night and every morning. So before safari, before I even wake up, I have a chef outside my tent getting ready and cooking my food before, I'm even out of bed kind of thing. It was crazy.
Well, I remember when you were planning this trip that you showed me some of the promotional material, and one of the key things was there was going to be a real closeness to African wildlife. Was that just hype from the promotional material, or did it turn out to be the case?
Well, one of the smaller tents was torn down by an elephant while I was there. That's how close they were. It wasn't trying to tear it down. It went up on its hind legs, was trying to get some leaves. And when it came down, it hit one of the ropes. So it took off one flap of the tent. And they ended up taking the whole tent down and moving them to another tent. Luckily, there was an availability of another tent. I literally had baboons in my tent, like around my tent in like where I sat outside around my campfire. I had a hippo literally 5 feet away from where I sat. I had elephants walking in all the time. And I absolutely loved every second of it.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So I don't really have a good conception of what a safari is. How many days were you there? And then what was a typical day like? Did you stay in the camp the whole time or was it something different?
We stayed at the one camp, but they offer 4 different safaris. One safari is your typical game drive where you're in a Jeep. You head off in the morning or in the evening and away you go kind of thing. They also have a walking safari where you'll be with a guide, and you'll also have one of the guys with the guns following you around as well in case something happens. And then we have a boat tour one that goes around where the hippos are and out the islands. And we have a canoe one, which gets you right up close to the elephants sometimes and the crocs as well. We had a croc roll right under our canoe while we were going.
Oh, wow.
And almost got a hold of the hand of the guy on the canoe in the back. Because he wasn't trying to get him, it was just startled. So it jumped up, but his hand was like, oh, right there kind of thing. So you would do 2 things. One would either be first thing in the morning, early morning, like you're up and you're gone kind of thing. And then the other would start around 3:30, 4 o'clock. And they do an evening one until you get back to camp around 6:37. And they'll have the chefs there at the main camp in the main area cooking all your food and everything ready for.
Wow, that sounds like some pretty full days. How would you describe the folks that were actually partaking in this type of vacation? Was it a bunch of different folks or was it older folks, younger folks? Who was this vacation for, do you think?
It was very mixed. I met a number of couples. Some were from the US, some were from the UK. We met a mother and son. The son, I guess, was around 21, 22. It turned out to be his birthday while we were there. And we actually invited him over to my tent, and we invited him for dinner, and our chef cooked the meal and everything for him that night. It's such a small amount of people. Like you can only fit 2, right? In the 10, so the 8 tents, that's 16. Then you get the 2 bedrooms, that's 4 more. Mine, 2 more, maximum. You got like 24 people that can stay at this camp at a time.
Well, that's pretty cool. So let's try to. I'll see if I can coax you into the highlights. What was your highlight from a wildlife spotting? What was the thing that sticks out in your mind as the coolest wildlife spotting?
Well, male lions up close were amazing. We also saw a few elephants come in and chase them away. They were on their way somewhere else. They saw the 2 male lions, and the mother just went and chased after them, chasing them away. But the lions didn't go too far. They just went away, and then they came right back and just watched, just in case they could get at the younger ones, right?
Wow.
So you never know. But that was pretty cool. We saw a leopard. You could not see this leopard in this tiny bush that was in front of us. No idea it was there, but the guides knew it was there. And then all of a sudden it came out in the clearing and walked in front of us. It was amazing.
Wow, that sounds pretty wild. And then since you had a personal chef and you're in the middle of Africa, were there any food highlights, something that you're remembering or wish you had again, that kind of thing?
I'm telling you, this chef was amazing. Apparently, he's been there 17 years at this camp. He's the oldest employee there as far as long, working there. And I had 2 other travel agents were in there with me. And I know one of them, and they were very picky. They're picky eaters. And they loved everything this guy did. He would make a different soup every night. I mentioned, this person that I'm dining with tonight apparently is allergic to mushrooms. They can't have mushrooms. So they would make me my own bowl of soup, of mushroom soup, and give them something else as soon as they heard that. All this special stuff. They made cakes for the guy for his birthday. It was, I will never complain about the service that I had at this place. It rivals almost any vacation I've ever done as far as service is concerned.
All right, let's ask the tacky question. Of course, this is a bucket list land vacation. Can you ballpark what this kind of thing would cost somebody to do? And you said, were you 7 days? Is that how long you were out there?
Yeah, 6 days. So
yeah.
Because of the season that I went, it was the peak season. It worked out to around 17,000 for 2 people.
Okay.
And then that's besides flights. But that is,
Okay.
it's the personal flights, like the Cessna flights, that's all included. Food, alcohol, guides, everything else is included. Everything's included but tips at the end.
So about 7G, you had to add some flights to get over to Africa, and then tips.
Yeah, and that's US, by the way.
Okay. What do you think? Now that you've done it, that's a large outlay of money. Do you find it worth it? Is that a worth it for your money?
If you are a person, like I didn't have to stay at the expensive one. I didn't know if I'll ever be able to do this again. So I wanted to stay in a nice tent. I wanted the plunge pool in case it was super hot. I was like, there's only one plunge pool and it was at my tent. But I couldn't use it. It was too cold. It wasn't the hot season when I got there. So I never once used it. Plus we were on the go all the time. But it was nice to have it there. So I didn't need to spend that money. Did I enjoy it? Put it this way. I just put a deposit down for 2026.
Oh, wow. You're going back.
Already going back.
Well, that's cool. Okay, well that's a good affirmation of whether it was valuable or not. So you took no time off. So you left Africa and you went. Where did you go next?
Well, we flew from Africa to Rome. Spent a few days in Rome and then got on the ever popular Sun Princess, which I apparently am like the guy who's been on it the longest.
Yeah, if there should be an honorary godfather of the Sun Princess, I believe it would be you. I think you're coming close to 60 days on that ship, right? Are we getting close to 2 full months? Yeah. Well, that's good. So went to Rome for a couple days. Any highlights in Rome? Did you do any sightseeing? Anything worth checking out for folks that have never been there before?
Well, Rome was perfect because everything is so close. If you can walk about 10,000 to 15,000 steps a day, you can get to 12 or 13 landmarks.
Oh, wow.
They're there. So, you just book a hotel somewhere downtown. Doesn't have to be the biggest or the best, but it's all walking distance. So I just walked everywhere. I never once took an Uber, never once took the train or anything. You can, but you didn't need to. But it was a holiday when I was there.
Oh, wow.
You're crowded.
A lot of folks everywhere. So, okay, so you embarked the Sun Princess in Rome. What's the itinerary for that cruise? Where did you go?
Well, we were supposed to go to Mykonos, but it got canceled because we had the unfortunate event of a crew member overboard. We did go to Istanbul, and where else did we go? Pompeii. We were there as well. So that was interesting. You know, in your head, when you're thinking Pompeii and you used to watch the documentaries, you would picture all these sort of like mummified people in their position, right?
That's what I think of.
Position from the, you don't see that, right? Because the bodies degrade over time and stuff like that. So there's none of that there. It's just ruins everywhere. But it's huge. They have uncovered like 10% of it. The rest is still wide open to do. So that was pretty incredible to watch, to see that.
That's pretty wild. So when you're in Pompeii, can you see Mount Vesuvius? Is it ominous? It's right there.
Yeah.
So you get the sense of the terror that these folks may have experienced as that volcano was.
Yeah, I can get to you. That pyroblast, yeah.
Wow. Any new revelations about the Sun Princess? Is the Sun Princess your favorite? You're a big princess fan. Is the Sun Princess your favorite princess ship?
I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I do like it because it had a different entertainment than most of the other princess ships. The other princess ships are still sticking with Encore and, what's some of the other ones? Geez, I'm drawing a blank now. Most just shows I've seen, right?
Yeah, like the Night at the Opera, Rock Opera, or whatever they're.
Rock Opera. Yeah. So I enjoy the new. That's why I'm looking forward to the Star Princess when it comes out. New entertainment on board. But I got to meet Cole again. Buddy Cole.
Cruise director, 6 Second Cole. Yeah.
Yeah, and 6 Second Cole. And he kept me till the end in the Yes No Game show again. And this time I beat him. So he tried really bad, but he tried everything to get me off in that game. He even tried to trick me using the cheat method, Hey, Don, can you sing this song? YMCA? Because if I say C, that's yes in Spanish. He would have been booed had I been knocked out using that, but I know that trick, so I just went, I don't know what you're talking about.
Got a little tricky with you. Tons of specialty restaurants on the Sun Princess. Did you do any specialty dining on this cruise?
We did Sabatini's. I went to the teppanyaki, and I found that the buffet was excellent this time around, and they ate there a lot. I just went up and got my food because I like to go after, I do editing and everything at night, so I like to go down, see the show, go back to my room, just pick up stuff on the way back and eat in my room, and it was terrific. And the room service on board is still probably the fastest I've ever seen on cruise ships. The way to design the new kitchen and everything on those ships being all centralized, room service now takes next to no time to get to your room.
That's great. So how many days were you on the Sun Princess?
Just 7.
7 days. And was it Rome to Rome, or did you get off somewhere else?
We got off in Athens.
Oh, wow.
And oh, by the way, that's where Princess found my luggage that was lost by good old Egypt Air. Lost my luggage and had no idea where it was until Princess stepped in.
That's true. You had a huge luggage adventure. How many days were you without your luggage?
5 altogether.
5 days. Did you have to buy extra clothes, or what'd you?
I bought a bunch of extra clothes. Luckily, it was just I traveled with just a duffel bag this time because you had weight restrictions in Africa when you're going. So I didn't have my good suit with me and my dress shoes. I didn't have any of that. So that was good. And I didn't take any of my cruise t-shirts with me. So I didn't lose any of my cruising t-shirts, which was good. Just plain white t-shirts and that. But my safari gear and all that was in there. That was pretty expensive. And when I called, the airline, they said, yeah, we don't know where it is. I said, okay. Now what? They said, well, we'll get back to you. No, I'm going to have clothes on this trip. But then I got on board the Princess, and they took over from there, and they got me my bag.
Did you have your bag when you started the cruise, or they picked it up somewhere along the way?
It made it there on the 3rd day.
That's wild. So yeah, you're just a couple days on the cruise. Another good reason to have travel insurance, right? If you did get your bag back at all, yeah, you could have done that. Okay, so you disembark in Athens. Do you stay in Athens, or what's the next step of your month-long journey?
Well, I didn't stay because we only had 1 day before I had to get to the river cruise. So, but I did do a tour because the flight wasn't until later in the afternoon. So we did go around Athens a little bit, and then I flew another airline, Aegean Airlines this time, into Budapest.
Oh, wow. That's Hungary, right? Budapest is in Hungary? Yeah, okay.
And from there, I stayed at a hotel near the river, and excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Here it comes. Excuse me.
Bless you, buddy.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So yeah, and then from there, I was going to walk the next day to the cruise. I did walk at night to see where the cruise ship was, because it parked there overnight. And I wanted to see the size difference next to ships. That's what's really weird when you're on a river cruise. You don't realize it, but you park directly attached to other ships. And in order to get off, sometimes you have to cross over other decks of other ships to get in. I had to go through 3 ships once to get off of the ship, which is very odd and completely different from ocean cruises. Like there's no passport security and all this that you have to go through. There's no metal detector machines. You just walk on the ship and, hi, how are you? You're in this room.
That's wild. So it's AMA Waterways. Of course, what you're talking about there, when it comes to river boats, they're kind of flat. They look like if you just stuck 3 rectangles or something on top of each other. How many decks are these ships? Are they just only 4 or 5 decks, even that, or how many decks on your deck?
If you count the top deck, the sun deck that you can walk on, and all the lounges and the pools on, there's a total of 4.
4 decks, so it's like a floating rectangle. And yeah, to your point, it's pretty wild that they could connect to each other, off of the dock. It's pretty wild. So I know you've been on a river cruise before, but were you saying that might be 20 years since the last time you were on a river cruise?
Well, it's definitely over a decade.
Okay.
That for sure. The last one I was on was a Viking, a long time ago.
Was it enough of a difference to say some things had changed? Was this a different river cruising experience, or very similar to what you'd remembered?
It was fairly different this time, especially because I was on the Magna, which is a double wide. And when you park beside some of the other ships out there, you like, wow, what a difference. Like all these cabins, if you look at a normal river cruise ship, they all hold around anywhere between 129 and 169 passengers roughly. Well, ours held 169, but it was double width. So you had more spacious cabins than you do on a normal river cruise, and more space as far as the hallway is concerned and stuff like that. So it made a difference seeing this double wide.
Did you know it was going to be a double wide, or do they sell it like that, just trying to tell you you're going to get new space? Is that one way that they market this, or is this a new like?
Well, this was a travel agent trip. There were 16 of us on board from Travel Only. And I knew it was the Magna when I booked it. And that was the one I wanted to try again if I was going on. Because I've been on a regular river cruise, but I heard so much about this ship that I wanted to give it a try.
So I know that river cruising is certainly different than ocean cruising. Can you describe what a normal day on a river cruise is like compared to maybe what a ocean cruise is like?
Okay. Well, it's far less hectic. Put it that way. There's no big lineups to do anything. It's very laid back. You really get to know your crew members because they're serving you in the restaurant every time, right? It's always the same people. But you have set dining times. But they have different venues. So they had they have the chef's table, but it's actually a dining, like a restaurant. They call the chef's table, and that's their specialty there. You can just book it. It's not extra or anything. You just book it, but everybody gets a chance to go. Their main dining, you have breakfast in the morning, and then you're off for your excursions. And the excursions, they offered us like 3 or 4 choices every day, depending on what you wanted to do. Some were bike, some were bus, some were walking. So you had a wide assortment of the different tours you could do. A lot of people just walked off ship and walked around town because you park right in the city. There's a very, very few people actually needed to go on an excursion if you wanted to go anywhere. I could often just walked around a lot of the times. I did a couple excursions, but I really liked wandering around the city. You'd come back, you're back for lunch, and then they have afternoon excursions normally. Then you come back from that, you have your dinner, your entertainment, and the ship is moving at that point when you're on. If everyone gets back on time, even an hour early, say an hour early before we're supposed to leave, everyone's back on board, they can check with your card. They'll just pull up and start heading out. Wow. It's not like a set time like with the port, right? Where they need the tugboats to escort them out and the guides. They just, okay, let's go. And away they go.
That's pretty cool. So, I guess I don't fully know what's included with a river cruise and what's not. When we think about ocean cruising, obviously you get your cabin, you get some sort of included food, but not normally drinks other than, just water or tea or whatever. Is that the same setup for a river cruise, or do you find that to be more all-inclusive or less all-inclusive?
Food-wise, it's 100% all-inclusive. Even the specialty, what you would consider specialty restaurant, is all included there, the chef's table. They have a happy hour every single day where everything is included. Dinner, you could get wine and beer, sodas were included with dinner. Your juices and coffees included at breakfast. They had coffee espresso makers all over the ship that you could just walk up, grab some cookies, and make your own coffee in the morning. Never had a lineup. Always was able to just walk up, make a hot chocolate, and away I go, even in the morning, which was nice. That's kind of what's different. If I was reading up on the Celebrity cruise one coming up, and they're saying they're going to have 24-hour room food at one venue. Most river cruises, they'll have a snack time at night, and then that's it. There's nothing till breakfast. Wow. So I'm kind of curious now about Celebrity and what their price point is going to be to have an extra dining menu open 24 hours.
Yeah, we're recording this on September the 4th, and yesterday was the big announcement from Celebrity Cruise Line that their 2 new Celebrity River cruises were going on sale, and I believe they sold that thing out in 6 minutes. They had a pre-sale, but it can't. I watched your coverage of it today, and there can't be that many spaces on it. Like you said, if it only holds 160 people, and there's 2 of those, maybe that's only 300 or 400 people that could have pre-booked. So it's not shocking that it sold out so quickly. But I did think I was very very tempted by the Celebrity River Cruise when it was announced, but looking at the renderings and reading about some of the offerings, definitely my interest is piqued. I know we're similar in the fact that we like cruise ship entertainment. We like big theater entertainment. I've always heard that the entertainment's going to be different on a river cruise ship. How did you find the nightly entertainment? How different was it than a regular ocean cruise entertainment?
Well, we had one young couple, a piano player and a singer, and that was our entertainment for the ship. They were on board. They're actually a very cute couple. They're engaged. They're getting married next year. They were very pleasant, very personable. Went around and talked. She even did like a pop-up Coast Guard building seminar kind of thing in the lounge at one night. And then one night they brought on a trio to play classical music. And that was basically our entertainment. They'd play every night. But there was and every day they would do a little port talk about what's coming up tomorrow kind of thing. But that's about it. There's no bingo. There was no Deal or No Deal. There was no Broadway production of Mamma Mia.
It kind of sounds like at the end of that cruise, you were ready for some close-up magic. And I know how much you love close-up magic.
Well, you know what? By the time that was my last part of my trip, right?
Yeah.
I'd already been gone for 23 days when I stepped on board. I was quite ready for a relaxing, leisurely trip where there was no rushing around, no nothing. Just sitting there watching the waves go by was very entertaining for me.
Well, I'll ask the same question that I did about the safari. What was the makeup of the fellows that you were cruising with, the people that you were cruising with? Is it younger crowd, older crowd? Who's into the river cruising?
Well, it's definitely an older crowd. I'd say the average is 60 and above. More in some cases. Not to the point where, there were people on the track every day walking around, and some of them were speed walking. The bike tours were full all the time, so that they're able to get around. I think I only saw one person that had any kind of mobility issues on the whole trip. So at least our cruise, I don't know if that's the game plan going forward for every cruise on the river, but it definitely skews older.
And of course, we'll ask the question again, with less people on board and of course all that travel, how much more expensive is a river cruise than an ocean cruise based on what you know?
Quite a bit more expensive. And look, for instance, if I'm booked next year, say Christmas markets, I'm going to be paying for a solo cabin for myself around $11,000 for a cabin for 7 days. And I booked a mini suite on the Star Princess, the brand new ship, this December. $4,400, drinks included, and insurance included. So more than double.
Yeah, more than double. But it sounds like a good experience. All right, let's do the hard thing. You did the safari, you did the ocean cruise, and you did the river cruise all within 30 days. If you could have only done one, now that you've done them, if one's the only one that you could have picked out of those three, which one would you have done?
Definitely safari. I was planning a solo safari, but then I ended up going in for surgery, and so I had to postpone it. That's why this trip ended up being a month long instead of just one trip here and there. But that, I'm me in Alaska. I love going whale watching. Every time we go there, I'm big nature. I'm looking for bears. I'm looking for everything. So Africa is my kind of place to see the wildlife. And because I didn't see everything, there's still some animals I haven't seen yet. We did not find the hyenas. We did not find the wild dogs. We were tracking them. We were trying, but we didn't see them. That's one of the reasons I decided I gotta go back. Well,
there you go. Well, Don, thank you so much for sharing that experience. Sounds like you had a great 30 days of travel. And of course, if you want to see, I've seen some great footage of elephants over on your YouTube channel, Don's Family Vacations. Make sure you check that out. Also, some commentary on his second channel, Just Don. As always, such a good time to talk to you, Don. I appreciate you taking the time.
Anytime at all.
Thanks, buddy.